Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away. This is the third video in the series I've done. This is the last video. As you can see, I've got a completed space station behind here, but I'll put this over it so I don't tease you. You can see what it looks like at the end. I'm going to be building the last of the Mobius 2001 Space Station 5. Okay, so to start the centering, I'm going to pretty much do what we did on the first ring. I'm going to be creating these pylons just here and here, but there is a difference when we get to this one here, which has got this red top because it's incomplete at the top, whereas this goes into like a complete structure. On this one, we don't. We've actually got a sort of like frame section. So that is what I'm going to be building first. And then we're actually going to be putting this into the center part as well. Because when we actually assemble the ring, which we do in this page here, obviously things are going to go a lot different. So let's get these done first. Okay, so to start with, by all accounts, this bit's going to be quite difficult. We're going to be making the construction ring. Now, all of these parts are the red parts of that ring, and there's a lot of them. So I'm going to get all of these primed up. Now, I've got the perfect colour for this. This time I'm using a different paint. This is a high coat car paint, perfect finish primer. It's a red primer, but that is the colour of it. So it's sort of like a deepish red. It's not exactly red. It's coming up more red on my camera. I'm aware of that. It is more like a browny red. So I'm going to put this on every single sprue that you can see here. This is going to be fun. And hopefully that gives you an idea of the colour. But I've just run out of that paint, so I'm going to have to get some more. So check out all of this. They're all done, both sides. I don't actually need them yet, so I'm just going to put them to one side. So once again, everything that's going to be that off-white colour is getting a primer coat, as you can see here. And I have already created these. So this part of the build now, every single part is now painted. So when it comes to putting it together, all I'm going to have to do is touch up some small spaces. It's going to make things a lot easier. But I'm going to now start to do the outside construction ring. And I think for that benefit, it's probably worth showing you the instructions. You've got the front section looking like this and the back section looking like this. And all of these sort of parts here are different. So what I've done is when I painted these, as you can see here, I did write the number on the back of them so I know which piece is what. So as you can see, I've painted them in this lovely red colour, and it's these pieces that I'm going to need first, namely pieces 39 and 38. So 39 is this one, 38 is this one. So let's get this off the sprue. And there you go, that's how that looks. Now this is very flimsy, so it's going to be fun to work with this. So as you can see there, that's two 39s, these are two 38s. Now thanks to the great Lou Dalmaso, who made mistakes so we don't have to, one side of these is smooth, and one side of this has these raised sections here. Now these raised sections need to be in the middle. So when we have the other gird around here, we're going to be putting parts in the middle of these. So we want the fascia of these to be sort of like this way round, so that when we come to put these in, these definitely are facing down. So first thing I'm going to need is part 33 looking like this. And that is going to be fitting in this channel here. Remember, these bits here facing upwards. Just like that. Now, because I've painted these, the cement isn't going to do a good job of putting this in. So now I am switching to my brush on glue. So I've got a little flat spanner here, which is the same sort of width as this here, just so that this can sit flat on there. Like that. So that is now stuck down. I'm just going to put that to one side. On this side here, we're going to be taking the other one here and part 34 that looks like that. So this one will be going into there, so that when I flip this over, it's going to be that way with the bumps on the bottom. Now this is the 38. This is going to be going on the bottom of this one. So again, make sure the pins are facing towards the inside. And then on the bottom of this section here, we've got number 32. And I am taking my time to make sure these dry before I start on the next bit. And there you go, that's one ring, that's the front ring complete. So we're now just going to take the other parts of these. So 32 is going to go down here. So we need to put two 38 plates on either side again, making sure these bumps are on the inside. So I'll continue doing the rest of this ring. Now even though I've put these parts together here. I haven't glued these in. I've just put this on top to check how it is. Make sure that all of these indents are in the inside, which they are. Looking pretty cool at the moment. Now, because I need to put the spindle in here, which is basically the center section and the 4 spokes, on the other one, because it was so rigid, there was no room to actually get it all in. But as you can see here, there's a little bit of stretch, so I'll be able to put it into place. So there's no reason why I can't glue these into place now. Okay, so now I've done the dry fit of that and I'm happy with that. What I want to do is take these number 47 pieces looking like this, and I'm going to be gluing these into the channel just here so that they're flush on that section there. Do the same on the other side here, and then I'm going to be doing that to the other 2. And now they're in place, I am at a point where I can put all of these together. Okay, so once you've got the outer ring in place, it's just a case then of having to put the little tiny construction girders in each individual notch of that outer ring. And believe me, that does take a lot of time. So much so, over 3 days, I kind of took this montage video. Enjoy! And when it's complete, it looks just like that. So that's from one side, and this is from the other side. It's all painted and glossed, and I have done a tiny bit of weathering, not too much. I mean, it's a new ring, so you don't expect it to be too weathered. But there we go, it's looking like that. So now we're moving on to the stage of the engineering. Now I need to talk about the engineering of actually getting this lit and turned, because initially in my first video I said to you that I was going to have a roller at the bottom and this was going to sit on the roller and it's going to roll it round. There's a problem there, and I had sleepless nights thinking about it, and that is that if there was a slight error in the way this is going, or not balanced or anything like that, this roller is going to skip. Not on that ring, on the other ring actually, and I've got that down here. Let me just bring that up. The roller's going to skip on there, and unless I have a spring at the bottom of the roller that will keep it flush to this, I think it's going to cause an issue. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do something which I knew that when we get to this stage, we're going to have no problems lighting this and spinning this. And I'm going to tell you what the new solution is. Now, this is what I call best laid plans. I mean, everything that I think about sometimes doesn't work out, and that shows how human I am. But I do like using these JST connectors, because what I can do is I can attach them to components, and then rather than have to solder things afterwards, I could just now plug these into the whole thing. So let me tell you about what I'm actually doing. I've got a motor here. This is a 12-volt motor. You can run it at a lower voltage if you want it to go slower. This is 30 RPM. 30 RPM, and I've got a pulley which I've already put onto the end there. That pulley is going to operate this bigger pulley here, looking like that, And then we've got a teethed belt. So there's no chance of this slipping. This is how I'm going to be turning the space station. So to that end, we need a slip ring. And this has probably got to be the smallest slip ring you've ever seen. Once again, JST leads in each end that I've already put together. And this slip ring, check that out, is the size of a fingernail. And what's going to happen is that I've had to design a system where I can hold the space station and also put a slip ring in the end. So I've been on Tinkercad and I've been making a few things. First off, I've made this adapter and I've also put some bearings in here as well. And what's going to happen is in this piece here, this is going to go through there. Now again, I've had to 3D print and design just this little bush here for the bearing to go into. Now this brass rod, which is about 15 centimeters, I think it ended up being in the end. Let me just double check. Yeah, around about 15 centimeters. I had to hollow the middle of this section out, as you can see. But this is going to be going in here like that. The bearing will go in there. And then that gives you an idea, this is free to spin, how this is going to look. Now, the slip ring is going to be going into this side here. So I can take that out again. The slip ring has a static side, which is this side here. It did have 6 wires coming off of it, but it's only got 2 now. And then we've got a rotation side, which is this side here. So what I need to do is just put the, let's get it right, this way round. Feed this through here, just like this. It's going to come out the other side and keep feeding it in until I've got the slip ring encased in this little shroud that I made there. Now I don't want the slip ring moving, so what I'm going to do is just touching a tiny bit of glue on here so it's stuck permanently in there. This whole middle spindle will not be moving at all. And it's not going to need too much glue, just enough to keep that in there. And I want that to be flush along that edge there. So now this can still turn, no problems at all. Okay. Now when we look at this ring here is going to be towards the front ring, which means that I want this section, which is going into the back, to be going in through this side here. Just like this. But let's get it all the way in. I want the bearing here to be inside this ring here, and again I don't need this bearing to be moving, so I can dot some glue around the middle of this section. And push this into place. Perfect, and that's moving just like that. Now what I also need to do is on this section here, I'm just going to rotate it round. I need to glue this kind of like that. So when the whole ring is spinning, as you can see, it's going to make the slip ring inside move with that wire, which is working absolutely perfectly. So I'm going to be gluing this cable just to the edge here as well. Now while I'm letting that dry, I'm just going to check that the slip ring has got continuity. Always check as you go along. So for that reason, I've got the motor here. What I'm going to do is just plug the motor into this plug at the end. And then I'm just going to get a 9-volt battery and I'm going to provide charge, and hopefully that motor's going to turn. Let's check. As you can see, that's working a treat. Perfect. So now I can actually just take all of this off, and I'm now in a situation where I can now attach this section to the front ring. And once again, to make things easy for myself, as you see, I've just got 2 JST plugs. I just need to link these together, fold the wires round, and then just quickly do a dry fit to get this into the best position. That looks good there, just like that. So I'm going to have to glue that into place. Now before I do that, I'm just going to again check that I've got continuity through here for the lights. Again, this with a 9-volt battery. As you see, they're coming on no problems at all. They're only 9-volt going in there though. Okay. Let's glue that into place. Then to give you an idea how that looks, see it's turning perfectly like that. Okay. Now the large opening for the docking bay on the other side is at the top here, and then down the bottom we've got the shorter end, which means this end here needs to be this top section with the ring I'm about to put on top. So once again, I'm just passing this wire through here, put this down and make sure this is going to get lined up. Now I do have a bearing in here which I'm going to put into place again, and then I've glued the second ring on now, and that should now be secure. I'm going to let that dry. So the last thing to go on will be the rear entrance. Just going to put that on there and glue that into place. That's perfect. I'm just going to hold that into place, because the next part, super glue, I don't think is going to cut it. I'm going to be putting some epoxy on this, because what's going to happen is we've got the massive pulley here, which is going to fit tight along that section just like that. As you can see, I've centered it now on there as well. So let's get some epoxy out and put this into position. Now the epoxy I'm using is this Gorilla epoxy, which comes out exactly the same time, so it helps to know how to mix this. I've got a little pot here to mix this in. Now this has got some advantages and some disadvantages. The advantages is that it doesn't set straight away, and I suppose it could be another advantage as well, but I'm just going to mix that now. It will not come apart. This is probably the strongest bonding agent you're ever going to see. Now it does take around about 5 minutes to actually cure really tight. Excellent. Put this down and push that into place. Now that should bond both of those together. Now we don't need a bearing in here. I've already tried this out, and this actually still turns absolutely fine when this is actually attached. So as you can see, no problems at all. So I'm just going to wait for that epoxy to set. Now while I'm allowing that to dry, I'm just going to be putting this to one side. And I want to show you some of the other parts that I've designed on Tinkercad to actually put this in together. So that brass rod that you just saw is going to go into the top here. In the bottom we're going to have the motor. Now I've made a cavity at the back of this for the motor to go into. So this motor is actually going to be sitting there. But as you can see, we've got all of this space behind it, which is going to house the wire. But I'm going to be epoxying that into place just there. Now what I do need to do is thread all the wires through. So I've got this little bar here which is going to go into a base. Let me just tell you how much I'm using for that. That's just 15 centimeters seems to be the paradox on this build, because what I need to do is I need to put this into a base. Now the base I've already created as well. I didn't want it to take too much attention away from the space station, but what I did was I 3D printed a semicircular section, put some epoxy sculpt on here just to make some sort of representation of land, painted it green and put a few clouds in there. But what's going to happen with this is that the lead that I've got from the DC connector, which I've already put into the back, I can take this lead off. I made a Y-branched lead, so I've got a female on one end and 2 females on the other end. That's going to enable me to connect things together. But I'm going to be putting this up here like this. And what I need to do is when it gets to the top, I can see it through the top there. I need to feed that out to the other side. But first, I'm going to get this into place. And as you can see here, there is that lead. So it's going to be easy to connect things to that, you see. Now when I put the lead in here from the bar, it's going to be hard because I've got a hole going through this section here. It's going to be hard to get to that. So what I've done is I've drilled a hole through the back as well so I can feed that lead through. I can just poke it through, pull it down, so then that's going to be coming out through the front as well. So there we go, the motor is on the belt. The question is Is this going to work? I haven't got a clue. I've never tried this. This was just a concept thing. I really do hope it does. I've got no idea. So I'm going to plug it in, see how this goes. It's a bit quick. I might have to tone that down, but it works, as you can see. Pretty cool. It is too quick. Now I do have a motor which goes 2 RPM. Okay, I've replaced the motor to 2 RPM, but before I actually start it up, there's one other thing I want to do, and that is just to put some balance in here. If you see here, I've popped the top of this section on here, and I have got some ball bearings down here, which I'm going to be putting in there, which is going to help to balance this off, to make sure there's not much torque and stuff on that belt there. But that is what that's looking like, so let's do that now. Okay, I'm kind of sitting in the dark now because I'm going to be trying it out. Put the slower motor in there. Let's see how this goes. Plug it in. Keeping my mouth shut. It's looking good. It's looking good. I'm happy with that. Let's turn this light out here. There you go. That is pretty cool. Excellent. So I'm going to do some beauty shots. Let's do them now. So I really hope you like that build series. I really enjoy building this as well. I do need to find a place for this now. It is quite a big model, I have to say, but there you go. If you did like this video and it has helped you out, please remember to give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.